Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review the Blu-ray and 4K edition of Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I'll put a link for that in the description. All right, before we jump into Jojo Rabbit on Blu-ray and 4K, I just want to let everybody know I'm having a contest for a free Blu-ray 4K combo pack of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, which will be released on March 31st, 2020. So you have between now and March 31st to enter. In order to enter, all you need to do is be subscribed to the channel, hashtag MovieGuy365 in the comments of this video or any video between now and then, and you need to like the video. I will select somebody randomly as the winner, and that will be announced on April 1st, so good luck. All right, Jojo Rabbit is here on Blu-ray and 4K disc. I'm going to review both the picture quality and audio of the title. Now, the audio is going to be the same for both versions, so there's going to be one section. And as always, as I do with these videos, I'm going to go ahead and link chapter times right over there, so you can skip to whatever pertains best to you and find out the scores and all that other fun stuff. All right, before we do anything else, let's do a quick unboxing. Alright, we have the Jojo Rabbit slipcover edition, no exclusives or anything like that, so this is basically what we get in all the stores. And here we have the back cover and our spine, and real quickly, same thing pretty much, front and back, and just black case, and a little bit of artwork there on the Ultra HD version. So, alright, that's it for Jojo Rabbit. Let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. Okay, so the Blu-ray quality of Jojo Rabbit is a really nice one indeed. The movie was shot digitally, so it has that very nice clean look. Now, typically, what a lot of filmmakers do, and I just recently reviewed Midway, they like to add a little vintage look to movies from that time period. A lot of World War II type films have that kind of similar style to it. But Jojo Rabbit is played pretty much straight, shooting from the hip. It's really got its own clean, modern-looking image, so there's no really any stylistic choices as far as like what's behind the lens goes. So it makes for an interesting and good-looking 1080p picture. Colors are nice and lively, sporadic throughout the film. Despite the sometimes heavy nature and tone, it still overall, I think for the most part, provides a very pleasant-looking picture. Even though on the more somber instances, especially in the back half of the film, those little instances of color pop off the screen. There's a scene in particular. It's very spoiler-heavy, so I'm not going to reveal it. That looks a little more pronounced on the Blu-ray copy as it does over onto the digital or 4K side. So, but I think overall, the Blu-ray edition of Jojo Rabbit on the picture looks really good. I think it utilizes color nicely when it needs to. Overall, just the general aesthetic looks very pleasing to the eye. I didn't really have any issues with elevated blacks. There were a couple scenes here and there that were a little on the macro blocking instance. Just one scene in particular. But for the most part, I feel it was a very strong presentation, especially utilizing those black levels. I think overall, very good looking here on Jojo Rabbit. So, all right, enough about that one. Let's talk about the 4K picture quality. So according to the information I was able to gather, Jojo Rabbit was indeed an upscale to 4K. So it wasn't naturally shot in 4K according to what I was able to read. Whether what it was rendered from exactly, it's really hard to say. But I don't think it was straight from 2K. Probably between 2 and 3 at some point. A nice little number there. But it is not a native 4K looking image. But don't let that deter you. I think it's an exceptionally clean looking picture. It was just beautifully rendered. Those color levels. I think while over on the Blu-ray side, they kind of tend to pop a little bit more, contrasting against some of the more gloomy elements. Here it's a more naturalistic tone, and I think it goes. That scene I mentioned in the Blu-ray, which is very spoilerific, I feel it's a more natural contrast here, and I appreciate that. Not everything needs to pop and burst at any given time, and I like that HDR was very restrained here, and I think respectful of what was happening on screen. For the other aspects of it, I think color levels are good. They're, as I said, more natural in this presentation here on the 4K. Level of detail, I think it's exceptional. It looks great. Everything, from the uniforms to the war-torn scenery to just the nicer moments out in the country. Costuming and skin textures, they all look very good. I think Probably would have served a little bit better if it had been a native 4K picture, but for what we get here, I think it's applied very well. Black levels look really good. No problems there. I detect a little bit of macro blocking on the Blu-ray side. Here, not so much. I thought I spotted one or two instances, but I really couldn't confirm it. It just looks really good. And I think for the most part, black levels are exactly where they should be here on the 4K presentation. All right, now let's talk about the audio mix. So I feel that on the audio mix here, and I mentioned this over on the digital 4K review, we get our DTS 5.1, and I feel it is not the best that it could be. I really think while this is, it really just at the end of the day, a comedy with a little bit of drama, there are a lot of action aspects, war aspects, and I think for what we get, it sounds fairly good. It's a lot fuller than the digital version. Digital suffers from compression, lower bit rates, but here I think it's a really nice overall mix. It fills the soundstage of your home very nicely. I would highly recommend absolutely using this, utilizing your surround sound speakers. Your dialogue now on the digital side, I did have a little bit of a couple instances where I felt dialogue wasn't as strong as it could be from the center channel. I didn't really have that issue here. I think everything came through nice and clear, easy to understand everything. So I think that was more or less a compression issue on that side. Now, as far as the front channels, they did what they needed to do. It handles the action nice, and then the seamless transition between dialogue, from left to right and so forth. Sounds good. The speakers in the back, fair amount of ambience. They did their job. Nothing to overly write home about, but when there's action scenes, those kick in nicely. And a bit of, when quieter moments, then you hear something cracking behind you. It's used effectively, and I think it's a very overall good presentation in that regard. All right, now let's talk about my final scores. I'm going to go ahead and give the picture quality of the Blu-ray disc of Jojo Rabbit an A-. I think it's a very strong presentation. It's very clean. No real, issues as far as like digital noise. I didn't really have any problems in that respect. And I think it from start to finish, it handles the shift in tones very nicely. It's very appropriate. A little bit on tiny little macro blocking issue here and there. Nothing really to knock it down too much, but I think for Blu-ray picture quality, it looks fantastic. Now, as far as the 4K picture quality goes, I will go ahead and give that one a strong A. I think it's a very clean picture. While it's not true 4K in that sense, I think the uptick over the Blu-ray utilizing HDR is more than worth it. It looks spectacular, and I think it's a more naturalistic kind of use of color as opposed to what we got over on the Blu-ray side. I think as far as film lovers go, I think they'll be very pleased with the picture quality here. Now, as far as the audio mix goes, I will go ahead and give that a B+. I think it's very strong. It's noticeably a bit stronger than what we reviewed over on the digital side. No real issues with compression or that sort of thing. So it gives it a little more fuller, a little more just bombastic overall soundtrack, despite it only being a 5.1. While 7.1 or even an Atmos, is always welcome. Smaller movies like this, it's okay. It fills the room, it's nice. And I think, at the end of the day, you're going to, be enveloped into what's happening on the screen. It's a very good overall presentation of Jojo Rabbit on Blu-ray and 4K. Let me know in the comments below if you had a chance to check it out and what your thoughts were. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.